Nanu, Orkins. Welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we watch Muppets from Space 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Ryan Rowe.
I'm your other host, Anthony Strand.
And this week we're joined by a return guest who happens to be the co-host of his own Muppet podcast. Guest, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Adam Grosswirth, and that podcast is Muppeturgy.
Yes, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me, I think.
Yeah, sure. You're happy to be here to talk about Muppets from Space?
I am happy to be here to talk about Dawson's Creek.
Right. So you are here to talk about minutes 65 and 66 of Muppets from Space, in which Miss Piggy fights Shelley Snipes and Pepe and Clifford meet two stars of the WB network. So as we begin, Andie MacDowell as Shelley Snipes finishes giving Piggy a piece of her mind. She says, "Underhanded little coffee pig, this is my show, my story, my microphone." And she grabs said microphone and starts speaking to the camera. "This is Shelley Snipes reporting. Please ignore the little sow."
I really enjoyed that line reading.
Yeah, she's good. So
yours,
I have this...
but also Andie MacDowell's.
Oh, thank you.
I think Andy's having fun. Oh,
she really is.
I think Ryan's having fun too.
Well, I thank you, but yeah, Andie MacDowell is really committing to this. Yeah, this is a good celebrity cameo.
It's a nice villain moment.
Right. Piggy grabs the microphone back though and tries to tell the audience to disregard this woman. But Shelley grabs her by the ear or possibly the hair. I couldn't quite tell. I tried to watch it back a couple times. What do you think?
I assumed the hair.
Yeah. Okay. She causes Piggy to scream. It's quite a blood-curdling scream from Piggy. Piggy has had it. Then she lets out a hi-ya. You know, we can never get enough of Piggy saying hi-ya. She's doing it again here. She punches Shelley in the stomach. And then she headbutts her. Shelley wrestles her to the ground. Piggy grabs Shelley's head between her legs. This is a funny visual. Piggy's puppet-sized legs holding Shelley's human-sized head. I don't know. Anthony's looking skeptical. Did you not find this funny?
Well, honestly, and I was going to wait till you were done, but
yeah.
The score kind of kills this scene for me. Like, do not understand the choice of this like funky dance party musical score during this fight.
It's kind of funky, jazzy.
Yeah, and it's just like very. It feels like the scene at the end of a movie where they're doing outtakes, and now like this like generic score is playing. There's nothing about this that feels like fight music to me, not even in a joking way. And it just, I don't understand the choice, and that's all I can think about.
And just dropping in at this moment, I thought a musical number was starting. Like, I mean, I was like, oh, there's a funk track playing. It's gonna take. Nope, it's over now. Like it plays for like 30 seconds under this fight. It's very weird.
And you can't help but think in another Muppet movie, maybe they would have started singing at this point. Maybe this would have been a duet.
And also, I don't know, just the cat fight thing is not that funny to me.
Yeah,
just like we have a female guest star, so she has to like get into an actual physical altercation with Miss Piggy. Like that's all we can think to do with her. I don't know. It's just not that. To use the parlance of the times, it don't impress me much. All right.
Although, have they really done that with Piggy that often with female? I guess around this time they kind of did, right? She did this with Michelle Pfeiffer on Muppets Tonight.
Michelle Pfeiffer on Muppets Tonight. I mean, you also have like a few on the Muppet Show, Raquel Welch, and things like that. But. Also, like, you know what they did do in a movie with Miss Piggy and a female guest star? Joan Rivers giving her a makeover, which is one of the greatest things ever.
And that's much funnier, yeah.
Like where they team up.
Yeah, right.
You know?
And it's very physical, but it's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and there's I'm blanking. I'm losing my Muppeturgy cred, but there's the Muppet Show episode where she and the guest star destroy the dressing room together.
Cheryl
Sherlad.
Ladd.
Yes, thank you. I knew you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually liked the bit with the legs, and then I guess we're getting ahead of your recap, but she very quickly is upright. So there were either two identical sets of legs, or they just did something really fast. But like either way, it's like one of those puppet gags. Like I like a good, hey, it's a puppet movie.
Yeah.
Gag, even though I wish it weren't in service of this cat fight. But
I think probably a second set of puppet legs. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they just dropped out of the frame and the piggy puppet.
Yeah. There's something very Naked Gun about that particular moment.
Definitely.
I can see that.
Well, I like a good silly fight.
And also, I think adding to that or going along with that, we've been hearing these cartoony sound effects throughout this whole movie. There are a lot of those cartoon sound effects throughout this fight.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really pouring them on here.
I'm trying to say positive things because I'm about to run out of them. So
yeah, sure. Well, I gotta say, once again, Anthony, you're supposed to be the one who likes this movie, and I'm the one who doesn't like it. Yet again, you have talked me. Like I was like, okay, this scene's pretty fun, and then you're telling me, like, oh yeah, no, you're right. This scene's not fun. This is bad. So.
I feel like I've said this a bunch of times already, though, with this movie. Even the bad parts, they just don't bother me. It's kind of like, yeah, here's another dumb thing from Muppets from Space, a movie I've seen 20 times.
But you've convinced me this part that I had talked myself into thinking that this part was pretty fun, but no, you convinced me that this part is actually bad. So
that's how you can tell my love for Muppets from Space is genuine, because I don't pretend to love the parts that are bad.
Yeah, you don't have to talk yourself into it. It's already there.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, that's bad. Cool. Muppets from Space is great. What else is going on?
Okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
So, as this is going on, Mikey the cameraman is momentarily taken by surprise, but he regains his composure and continues filming them. Maybe he's compiling one of those, like, kind of fight compilation tapes that he's gonna sell on late night TV later. I don't know. The two women at one point disappear below the frame, and then Shelley Snipes rises up, apparently the victor of this fight. And it looks like she spits out some of Piggy's hair. I guess that's what she has in her mouth. That's pretty extreme. But then just when we think all is said and done, Chekhov's mind mist returns to the narrative of this tale. Miss Piggy's arm appears at the bottom of the frame holding the mind mist spray, and she sprays it in Shelley's face.
Yeah. So that's another thing bad.
Oh, it's so bad.
Another thing bad?
Yeah. Because, like, I kind of like the mind mist. I know I quite like the mind mist the first time. I said this with Ray Liotta. I think that's fun. I like Liotta's performance. And for it to just be a rehash of that, and that's how this ends, is infuriating.
Yeah. Oh, here's the mind mist again.
It's also, I have been listening to your podcast, but I have not been watching along. And my God, it's a bad effect. It's so bad. It's jarring how bad it is if you haven't been watching this movie for the last hour and a half.
That makes sense.
I don't know. Yeah, they could have done it better in a movie in 1999.
I think a practical effect would have been better.
Yeah, that's all they had
just to have a spray. You mean
just spray water on her? Like, it's not that hard. I don't know why it's so terrible.
And just keep the accompanying, musical flourish that goes along with it. But yeah, you're right. Shelley is dazed by the effects of the mind mist. She says, "What am I doing?" And Piggy says, "You were about to give me your job and get everyone here a cup of coffee." Shelley says, "Oh, yes, of course, right away." And off she goes.
Yeah, this really bothered me because, I know Shelley's the villain here, but, like, presumably she needs that job. Like, Ray Liotta, no permanent harm done.
Yeah, that's true. Miss Piggy has just stolen this woman's job.
Right. And also, is Shelley the villain? She hasn't done anything villainous.
Well, that's true. In this scene, again, having just been dropped in this scene, Eddie McDowell's clearly playing her as some sort of villain.
She's very aggressive towards Miss Piggy.
She's very aggressive, and Piggy is one of the Muppets, and we're supposed to be rooting for the Muppets,
right.
But it's not, this is not an earned victory for Piggy. No. She's just, like you say, she's stealing everything from...
Shelley has to pay her rent, and also I don't think it's actually in her power to give Piggy her job, even if she were to quit it.
No, that's true. So when they show up back at... what was the name of the TV station again? When they show up back there on Monday morning?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't think.
Very confused.
Yeah, I don't think Rob Schneider is gonna accept that Shelley Snipes is now the coffee pig.
Yeah,
So I think everything's going to go back to normal. This is such a weird thing that I'm about to say, but when Piggy looks at the bottle of Mind Mist and says, "I love this stuff," this reminds me of a moment at the end of "I Still Know What You Did Last Summer,"
Wow.
when
I mean,
Freddie,
appropriate
yeah, Freddie
for what we're
Prinze
talking about.
Jr. It's true, yes, that it's the right era. Freddie Prinze Jr. is brushing his teeth with an electric toothbrush. And he pauses and takes it out of his mouth and looks at it and says, "I love this thing," which I always thought was the weirdest beat
That
in
is
that
weird.
movie.
Is he high? I haven't seen that movie since it came out.
Maybe Freddie Prinze Jr., the actor, was high in the making of
Oh, I
that
meant the
scene.
character, but okay.
I don't think the
Yeah.
character is supposed to be high in that scene. No, it's just
Huh.
such a
I've
weird little
never.
moment that,
I don't know what they did any summer because I haven't seen any entry in the series.
I know I saw the first one. I must have seen the second one,
Yeah.
but I have no memory of it.
well, the next time you watch, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. It happens toward the end, I'll tell you that. But
I might watch it tomorrow. I'm off from work. Sounds
there
like a
you
great way
go.
to
You
spend my
got. You
Friday.
Yeah.
gotta. Uh, I truly thought you were gonna say it reminded you of Ernie Hudson at the end of Ghostbusters, yelling, "I love this town."
Oh, yeah.
Which is
No,
the last.
I mean
Which is the last line of Ghostbusters.
it's not even that enthusiastic though. I don't think the way
Oh,
Piggy
it's not.
says, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I love this stuff. I love this thing. I love this town. How about Ernie on Sesame Street in the Love Boat sketch saying, "I love this boat." That's another
Yeah.
one.
I
Right.
would love that mind. I would be so reckless
If
and
you had the mind
awful. Yeah, I
mist.
mean, I just said I felt bad that Piggy cost that woman her job, but no, if I had that stuff, it's all over.
What
Sorry.
would you do with it?
I don't know if I can talk about that on a
Yeah,
podcast.
he doesn't want to get arrested. Come on.
Yeah.
Whoa, whoa.
No, just like office drama, like nothing illegal, nothing, nothing
Yeah.
requiring consent, but just some people who could use a spray every now and
I
then.
mean, yes,
Sure,
yes. I
sure.
think we can all think of people, and a lot of people have really bad ideas, or they have ideas to do really bad things. So
Yeah.
maybe we'd like to spray them with some mind
Yeah.
mist and
I
just
might spray it
say,
on myself.
"You're not going to
Make a
do that."
suggestion. Like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
feeling anxious.
I
Calm
wonder if that
down,
would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh,
would
sure.
be.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, can you mind mist yourself? I
All
don't
right.
know.
We got to
Yeah,
write
Bunsen
Bunsen a
didn't.
letter and ask
Yeah,
him.
It's
yeah.
almost like this conceit was never fully thought through
That's
by
Well,
right.
I
the
don't,
writers of this movie.
Almost like that.
it just didn't come up. But maybe if they make Muppets from Space 2 someday.
Muppets from Space 2.
Please don't.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else about Shelley Snipes, Mind Mist, all this? No. Okay. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the beach, Rizzo is making his way through the crowd. He bumps into one of the humans and says, "Excuse me," and "Happy Halloween" there. Then,
I actually really like Rizzo walking through a guy's legs. He walks
Yeah,
between a
yeah.
guy's legs,
I really like that
and then
too.
he gets salty about it. He's like, excuse me there." It's like, you did that, Rizzo. Like,
That's
you're
true.
the one. The
Yeah.
guy was just standing there.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy is just standing there minding his own business.
And just thinking about like the puppetry of that, like where is Steve?
Yeah.
How did that actually work? It's probably not that
Oh,
hard, but I
yeah.
just, I didn't even think about it while I was watching. I just did just now.
No, you're right. That didn't occur to me. Wait, so what do you think? Is he just like
I
rolling? Is he on
think,
a roller going underneath the guy's
and
legs? Is
he can probably stick an arm out. Like I don't think he
Yeah.
goes that far that
Oh,
anyone
like
actually has to
reaching an
be.
arm back and then just bringing Rizzo
Yeah,
up.
either way, either back or forward. But like,
Yeah.
I don't think that like that man is straddling a puppeteer. I just,
No, no, I don't think
but
fully.
it sells the illusion that Rizzo is real in a very
Yeah.
nice
Oh,
way.
yeah. Huh. Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Positive things. Positive things. About to
Yeah.
run
So
out.
there you go. That's so now you've convinced me that that moment, which I was neutral on, is a good thing. So well done.
Yeah. Muppets from
Then
Space is great.
yeah, because of Rizzo bumping into a guy and saying, "Watch it, buddy. Happy Halloween." This movie is great.
Yeah.
Then Rizzo bumps into Dr. Phil Van Neuter. So I had no memory of this little moment in the movie. I had completely forgotten that this was that we saw Dr. Phil again. But here he is. Rizzo starts screaming, but fortunately, it's there's somebody else there. It's his friend Bubba the Rat, who tells Rizzo it's all right. Bubba says, "We let him slide, and he gave us a ride."
You know what this reminds me of, Ryan? A movie that you and I both hold very dear to our hearts.
Oh, we let him. Well, is it the end of Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Yeah,
Because
yes.
yeah,
How it's just like how we see all of the characters again at
right.
the movie screen.
Yeah,
This
they're all
this
kind of
feels like that. We're just like bumming around down the beach, and hey, here's Phil Van Neuter and the Rats. We
right.
we brought Simone French fries. We brought Mickey a file.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. Remember that guy from earlier in the movie? Well, he's back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I could see that. Dr. Phil says, "I love all my new rat friends now." So he's gotten over his phobia. That's very nice. They're all hanging out together. Dr. Phil and the rats are roasting marshmallows over a fire. Dr. Phil is using what looks like maybe a handheld butane torch attached to a stick
I
with a
believe it's a
marshmallow.
I believe it's a syringe.
Oh, is it a
Like a
flaming
it's a
syringe?
giant comedy syringe with a marshmallow on the end of it.
Okay, that
Oh,
makes a lot
nice.
of sense for that character.
I
Okay.
had to rewind it a couple times. Like,
Yeah.
what
Okay,
is
cool.
that?
Yeah,
Love
that's
that.
good. Yeah, that's a very good detail. Either way, yeah. So, and yeah, they're roasting marshmallows. All the other rats are just very happy to see Rizzo. And like I say, I had no memory of that moment, but that's fine. I have no problems with that moment from this 2 minute clip.
It was cute.
Yeah. Anything else about that moment?
It's kind of nice that they tie up that loose end because the last time we saw those guys, it kind of seemed like the rats were going to kill or devour
To devour
Phil
Yeah.
him,
Van
right? Yeah,
Neuter.
they were gonna eat him whole. Yeah, but now they're
Yeah.
all friends.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I did go back and look. Rizzo like just barely emerges from between that guy's legs and then continues on. So it is
Probably Steve was in front of
Steve
the
was like
guy.
behind him, behind the man.
Ah,
Yeah. And then so it's actually very simple, but it like the second you start thinking about it, you're like, wait, that's a puppet. How did that
yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
I love when they do things like that.
Huh. Yeah, the magic of puppetry and filmmaking.
Mhm.
Nice. Okay, so then we come to this next part. Clifford and Pepe are warming their hands over a fire in a barrel, and two other people are with them. It is Joshua Jackson and Katie Holmes, and at this time, these two actors were starring on the hit WB drama Dawson's Creek, which was filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina, as was this movie at the same time. And the first line that either of them says here is spoken by Katie Holmes, who says, "It's too bad Dawson isn't here for this," which is what tells us that they're not playing themselves. They're not playing random local gonzo fans on the beach. They're playing their characters, Pacey and Joey from Dawson's Creek. So,
There are.
yeah. Adam, you requested to be here for this scene specifically. So, what is it about this scene?
I did. So I just I had a feel. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's both shorter and worse than I remember it.
It actually
But
is very short.
it's very short.
Does it make sense in universe for
No,
these two
this is
characters
the
to
other thing.
be
So
here?
I had a hunch that by virtue of my age and homosexuality, I was probably best equipped among the general Tough Pigs community to talk about Dawson's Creek. And I know that there are others out there, but I got here first with my request. Uh, so Dawson's Creek was a giant hit, at least relative to other things on the WB, which was a brand new TV network at this point. Kevin Williamson, who wrote Scream, who broke out with Scream, then created this. And I remember at the time, like I was a little bit old for it. I was in my early 20s when it came out, so not a teen watching this teen soap. Um, but I loved Scream, and I was like raised on 90210, and I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was the lead-in to this show on the WB, and I was like,
Mm.
wait, the guy who wrote Scream wrote a teen drama where everyone is like over articulate and does not talk like actual teenagers. I must watch this, and I watched
Right?
all
Yeah.
6 seasons of it. Um, and friends of mine have a podcast called Again with This, where they recap now to an O and then Melrose Place and now Dawson's Creek. So I've actually been rewatching it along with them, and recently guest hosted several episodes of that, filling
Oh.
in for one of the co-hosts on Family Leave. So if you want to hear me talk about possibly the worst of the 6 seasons of Dawson's Creek, you can do that. But anyway, so yeah, I have a great fondness for this period of Dawson's Creek, for these two actors, Joshua Jackson in particular. and I'm like weirdly protective of them, and I hate this for them. I hate everything about it. But they were giant stars, and like that's like it's weird now. I don't like, maybe Euphoria is like the closest equivalent, but like, they were on the cover of Entertainment Weekly. The things that don't exist anymore, like Entertainment Weekly, right? Like they were these sort of giant stars. They were immediately recognizable. And the second you say Dawson, it's like, okay, this, even if you were not, if you even if you're an adult who wasn't watching this show, like you would get the reference.
Right. It was
from
assumed
that show. Yeah.
Right. A lot of people in the audience would know what that meant. Yeah.
So this came out between seasons 2 and 3. So it would have been filmed during season 2. I thought it was seasons between seasons 3 and 4, which would have made it like wildly not kind of like totally bizarre that any of this was happening. But so at least it actually makes a certain amount of sense that these two characters would be hanging out on this beach. Though we never really see a beach. I don't know. Dawson Creek is set on Cape Cod, even though it very clearly filmed in North Carolina. Like there are often like Confederate statues in the background.
Sure, yeah.
And I guess Cape Cod does in fact famously have beaches, but like it's the creek. They go to the creek. I don't know. We never see an ocean beach in Dawson's Creek. I don't think even once. But yeah, like it doesn't not make sense that these characters would be hanging out over the summer, I guess, at this point in the show. But like nothing that they do is really in character. It is weird that they're the only two there, like the Dawson's not there or anybody else if this giant event were happening in Cape Side. Which I guess we're meant to believe it. I don't know. It's nonsense.
Or does it just mean that these two heard about Gonzo and just traveled to this town where this is happening, or
they're bored,
or they just happened to be there? The two of them were I don't know, having a weekend trip to this town, Hensonville, or whatever this is.
Yeah, right. At this point, Joey and Dawson were together, and Joey and Pacey were their whole deal was like that they were sort of always sniping at each other, and then of course in season 3 they wind up together for a while because that's how that works. But
sure.
Yeah, that is not my problem with the scene. Like being in Dawson's Creek canon is not the issue. But I do remember like sort of watching at the time and like gasping when they appeared.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing it in the theater at the time and
not knowing who they were.
Gasping because I was so like I was extremely unhappy. I was like shocked and appalled that my precious Muppets had been tainted by these characters from Dawson's Creek. I was in high school when Dawson's Creek aired, and I had this just irrational disdain for it, which I will completely acknowledge now, and I understand was very irrational, and it was mostly because the girls in high school loved the show so much and were so invested in the relationships on the show. So I was just, I just made up my mind that the show couldn't possibly be good. So
I mean, it's not. Let's be clear.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, so I was talking to my wife Stacey about this earlier. She says the show was pretty good. I believe her. Maybe I'll check it out someday. But
the first couple seasons were okay.
Does Kevin Williamson leave the show at some point, or was he actually?
He does. Greg Berlanti, who now runs the DC TV universe, or did. I guess that doesn't exist anymore either. But he took it over, and I think sort of when he was running it, it was also pretty good. And they did do like there's a gay storyline that was sort of groundbreaking at the time. And,
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, like it's not. The first couple seasons are decent, but even so, like they're so dated and they're so overwritten. Like, and a thing that sort of works in a movie like Scream does not necessarily work over multiple seasons of a teen drama,
24 episode seasons.
Yeah, just like the sort of hyper articulate teen.
Yeah,
like Scream is meta on purpose, and this sort of started out that way. And I guess we should get back to the recap. But since you just said that we started with the thing about Dawson, Dawson is like a huge movie nerd, right? He wants to be a
film director. He wants to be the next Spielberg, is what
exactly.
I remember.
He's specifically a Spielberg fan.
Yes.
So it is actually weird that he's not here, that this thing is happening, that mirrors Close Encounters.
He would be the one, right?
I assume they asked him first. I assume that he wasn't available.
Right.
This might have been when he was filming Varsity Blues.
Sure, yeah.
Right. But at this moment, he would have been the biggest star in the cast because of Varsity Blues. Right. And then everybody sort of had their moment to break out. Joshua Jackson is still working constantly. Katie Holmes married Tom Cruise and sort of disappeared from acting for a while, but was very famous for being married to Tom Cruise. And she is now making a comeback as her own human, which I love that for her. Michelle Williams, of course.
She was the mom in Brahms the Boy too. Anyways, go on.
She was in an episode of Poker Face last season, and she wrote, and she's directing a movie that I think she also wrote, which she and Joshua Jackson are both starring in. So everyone's excited for that reunion, all the Dawson heads. But and Michelle Williams, Oscar nominated.
Probably, the best career. Of
she is now. She has had the best career post.
Yeah, she's Kelly Reichardt's muse. Like, what more could you ask for?
Yeah. So I think James Van Der Beek just recently died, but
I was going to say we should acknowledge, that.
But career-wise, I think they've all done fine for themselves.
Yes,
if not, retaining the level of fame that they had at the time. But I can't imagine they didn't want Van Der Beek for this.
I'm sure, yeah.
But it's like if I'm just like trying to imagine like being at that level of fame and happening to be in Wilmington, North Carolina, and your agent says they want you to cameo in a Muppet movie, and you're like, oh my god, yes,
yeah, sure,
absolutely. And then you end up in a scene with Clifford and Pepe that lasts 10 seconds,
and it's this,
and it's this, we'll get into it when you get back to the recap. But like, I'd be so, and like they're a little younger than me, so like they probably don't have the same attachment to the Muppet Show specifically that I did. Maybe Muppets Tonight was their thing, but maybe. Like I'd be so bummed if I were them.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone has ever asked them about it. If I ever meet Joshua Jackson or Katie Holmes, that's the first thing I will ask them.
I wonder if they even remember it. Like,
they might not. It was probably like a couple hours on one day.
Yeah, in the town where they were working.
Where they were already working. Yeah,
it's probably a thing they just did after work one day.
Yeah. So who knows?
As long as we're talking about their later careers, I do have to shout out Fringe, which Joshua Jackson stars on.
Yes.
And which is a show that I adored. Like I think of him as Peter Bishop first when I see him, So
yeah,
and he was recently on the terrible but very watchable Dr. Odyssey, which I'm really sad got canceled.
Oh sure,
yeah.
And he has aged incredibly well.
Yeah, he looks the same.
Yeah, but better, but older and hotter.
Yeah. Just like seasoned.
Yeah, not bad. And then I was just gonna say about my teenage irrational hatred for Dawson's Creek. I wrote a quote unquote parody of it back then called Dawson's Freaks.
Yeah,
I can find that.
Was it a Freaks and Geeks crossover? Was it about Lindsay Weir meeting Dawson?
No, I wish. If I can find that on an external hard drive somewhere, maybe I'll post some excerpts of it. It was really bad. I mean, it was the product of like, an immature guy who just hates this show so much, and I'm going to show them by writing this parody of it. Then they'll see how stupid and terrible it is. But
how'd that go? Did that work?
I mean, like I said, it was terrible. But Dawson's
Anthony,
Freaks.
Busy Phillips was on the last two seasons of Dawson's
I did actually.
So that crossover did sort of happen.
Right. Yeah, that's when they go to college, right?
Yeah.
She joins up.
Yeah, she's Joey's roommate in college.
Yeah. Sure. So I know there's no way that they are listening to this, but I would like to apologize to Jenny and Bonnie Lee and Sarah and my other friends from high school who were big fans of the show, who I mocked for liking it. So sorry, guys. So back in this movie, let's see, where are we? Pacey says in response to Joey, "Yeah, tell me about it. This whole thing is like something out of one of his sci-fi movies." I think that's his only line, isn't it?
It's his only line.
That's the only
I'm furious. It's his only
Jackson
line.
Gets to say, "Wow, poor guy." Pepe responds to this by saying, "But this is a Muppet movie. It's much more realistic and then Pepe, who is always depicted as an adult character, mind you, Pepe throws himself against Joey, who, in the timeline of Dawson's Creek, if I have my numbers right, had just finished her sophomore year of high school on the show.
Maybe junior, but regardless,
what I read on Wikipedia is that the first
old.
and second seasons of the show were both their sophomore year.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
So Pepe throws himself against Joey and starts rubbing her arm. So yikes.
Yeah.
And he says, and romantic, okay.
Not good.
And no,
Nope.
not good. I
Nope.
would
And it
say
gets worse.
I would venture so far as to say bad, even.
Yeah.
And she kind of shrugs that off and says, right. Then she turns to Clifford, also always depicted as an adult character. She says, so what's your deal? You some sort of alien or something?
She should have said, "So what's your deal? Are you my homie made of foamy or something?" That's what she should have done.
Boy,
Yes,
that
me.
would be that would make this whole scene that would redeem the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
It would.
Uh-huh.
It would.
Are you my homie made of foamy?
I
Yeah.
did kind of like the no, this is a Muppet movie line until it got gross.
But it's
Yeah.
also kind of meaningless. Like
Yeah.
this is like one of his sci-fi movies. No, it's a Muppet movie. That doesn't really,
I mean, I do enjoy that they call it a Muppet movie in the movie because just there hasn't been a ton of meta stuff in this
That's
Mhm.
true. Yeah, they
compared
do.
with the early movies. There's a
Yeah.
lot.
So yeah, it is just kind of it's what they do. The Muppets talk about being in a movie. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Clifford says, nah, baby, me and Gonzo were very tight, which doesn't actually answer her question. The question
Correct.
was, are you an alien? His answer is, me and Gonzo are very tight. He continues, in fact, we're going to be chilling in our hot tub later tonight. Perhaps you'd like to partake in the partay.
And this is where my notes say in all caps, Clifford, she is 16.
Again,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
teenage girl, sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
And Joey, though, very sensibly says, geeks, with so much contempt in her voice, and walks away. And that's it. So she doesn't want to wait for this scene to be over.
No, neither
No,
do
no.
I.
And that's it.
Oh boy.
Clifford says, all right, don't answer right away. We'll be here. Pepe says, oh, she'll be back. But of course she won't.
It's true. Katie Holmes was in fact 21 when the movie was made,
Okay, well, at least there's
which
that.
still makes her too young for Clifford, who in my mind is like 45. But also, she is
Yeah.
clearly playing Joey Potter, which means she is 16. So
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. If
Creepy.
they had, I guess they could fix it by just making them play themselves
I
or
guess
other
I mean
characters.
it's very Peter Falk in Caper, where like they never say that he's Columbo, but he's Columbo, right?
Yeah.
I just I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean,
Like
even if they just addressed each other as
yeah, I guess. I just feel
Joshua
like the
and Katie.
perception to the world is that they're teenagers because they're starring on a teen soap and they're like close
Yeah, still.
enough, right? They're not like Luke Perry with his, receding hairline on
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like they were
Or Andrea.
yeah. They were close enough that I think it's just weird and gross. And also like even if they weren't teenagers, it's weird and gross. Like why is this scene happening at all? It
Yeah.
Why
does
do we need
nothing.
to get started to show up just to get hit on?
Yeah,
Right.
it
Right.
doesn't move the story forward. It doesn't tell us anything about any of these
No. And
characters.
I wonder if there were any Dawson's Creek fans back in the day who were like so excited or I mean, you said you gasped when you saw it, but
Just in the way of like, oh, it's a it's like a good cameo. I don't know if I actually guessed, but like it's a good
or
cameo. Right?
or
It's like,
was there
oh,
any kind of like
these friends are here. It's that kind
yeah,
of
right,
thing.
but were there any teen magazines that were like coming this summer is a scene in this new Muppet movie. You got to go see it. See
Probably not.
your faves from Dawson's Creek.
Because that did happen. The reason you're saying this, I think, Ryan, is that Disney Channel ran ads for Muppets Most Wanted about
Right,
like
right.
go see Ross Lynch in Muppets Most Wanted
As young florist.
as
Oh,
a young
that's
florist, and he
funny.
has like a line,
Yeah.
you know.
That's really funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
many
I mean, I
people
guess
did
it
they
could
get
have
in the theater
happened.
from doing that?
And it's a Sony picture, and Dawson's was a Sony production as well. So I mean, there's some
Ah,
synergy there. But
okay. Yeah, that explains a little bit more too.
I think my vague recollection of it, and this could be totally false, is that it was just like a pleasant surprise to see these actors I liked
Sure.
showing up in this movie. But yeah, it's real weird, and it feels
Yeah.
like just shoehorned in. It just feels like, oh, we're filming in the town where Dawson's Creek films. We should get a cameo, and then they
Yeah.
just like inserted them.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like even Ross Lynch is like doing something in that movie,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah.
He's
Right. He has a function. That's true.
he's doing something.
Right.
So, yeah, we should move on from this, but I did find so I was way early in the online Muppet fandom I was 18 years old when this movie came out. I was active on the rec.arts.henson plus Muppets Usenet
Hell
group.
yeah.
I went
Great.
searching on the Usenet archives to see what I could find from when this movie came out. I found a post written by one Ryan Chucklehead Rowe.
Oh no.
There he is. There's the man.
But so this is what I had to say back then. I wrote, okay, I'll post a review later, probably. And probably is spelled PROB apostrophe BLY.
Yeah.
But I would just like to say that the cameo in Muppets from Space by a certain pair of WB stars is the worst, quote, celebrity cameo I've ever seen anywhere, ever. Blech. My dislike for that show is very, very strong. The scene wasn't even very funny. Bah humbug.
My
So,
dislike for that show is
my
very,
Wow.
dislike
very
See,
for
now
that
I
show
feel
is
I have
very,
to
very strong.
defend, even though I hate the scene too. I feel I'm like, no, they're my kids.
yeah.
My
So,
kids.
They're my kids.
there you have it
Don't
from
be mean to
18-year-old
Pacey.
me. 18-year-old me back in
Wow.
1999. Ryan
Ugh,
Chucklehead Rowe.
wow.
Wow. I wish I'd written one now.
I went looking because I am a digital hoarder, and I was sure I had an email or a blog post. I guess this was pre-blog. But I actually have emails of this vintage still, and I couldn't find anything. I was sure I had something where I wrote about my feelings about this movie, but
Yeah.
alas.
I just went to look to see if I had reviewed it on IMDb because I was doing that a lot in the early 2000s, and I did not.
Oh, I have that too that I'm saving for the last episode of the season.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
But Adam, if you can find that later, you
I
sent it.
I've no, yeah, I've looked. I mean, I'll
Oh, okay.
if it ever like pops up or if I figure out the Usenet thing. I don't think I was really on the Henson Usenet though.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I just I was sure I had something and I couldn't find it. Like I searched all the places where it would be in
Okay.
my digital lockers.
Alas.
Alas.
All right. So then finally, we cut to the inside of a barrel. Maybe this is the same barrel, maybe it's a different one, but there's no longer a flame burning. The fire has gone out, time has passed, and as the camera tilts up, we catch a glimpse of a group of people on the beach who are now far less excited than they were, and that is where this clip ends. So, yeah. Anything else on these 2 minutes? Adam, starting with you.
I assume you talked about this in the previous episode. The Gonzo hats are cute.
Yeah.
To end on a positive note, I like
Yeah, we
everyone's
like the costumes.
little costumes. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
background.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, Anthony, anything else?
No, we got to all my notes.
Okay. I have a few screenplay draft things.
Great.
These are all from the 11/25/1998 draft of the screenplay. So big thanks once again to the anonymous aliens who let us look at that. In this draft, when Rizzo encounters Bubba on the beach, he says, "Bubba, thanks for helping me out." Bubba says, "Hey, you led the break, man. You helped us. We helped you." Another rat says, "Yeah, that's the rat's credo." Rizzo says, "I thought the rat's credo was, there's garbage, let's eat." Another rat says, "Garbage where?" Yet another rat says, "Over there, let's eat." And then Dr. Phil invites Bubba and Rizzo to a limbo contest. So that's all pretty expendable. I would have liked to see Dr. Phil doing a limbo contest. I think just that kind of weird gangly puppet. I think it would be fun to see him doing the limbo.
That's very Eggy Noggy coded, so that makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Then, as everyone is hanging around the beach, Sweetums is talking to a group of humans and says, "I lived with the alien. Yeah, and I always knew he was different from the rest of us because he has those shifty, beady eyes." Which I don't think Gonzo really has shifty, beady eyes.
Yeah,
So,
No,
that
and lots of Muppets have eyes like that.
yeah.
yeah, it just feels like it needed another draft, and what happened instead was that it got cut.
It just, yeah, cut it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Would be nice for Sweetums to have a moment.
It would be nice
Yeah.
for him to have a line. Yeah. And it would have made sense for him to be chatting with the humans who are gathered there. So,
Yeah, it is weird that Clifford exists and that she asks him if he's an alien, I'm going backwards, but this just sparked the thought
Yeah.
with the shifty beady eyes. Because like, what is Clifford? Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right. Like,
he's some kind of humanoid.
yeah. He feels like a different flavor of whatever to me. And
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I thought he was a catfish. I think we've talked about
oh,
this.
I think you're right. I think he is a catfish. I
Well,
think you're
what's
right about
the
Well,
saying
I don't
Kermit
think he
has a
is
line
though,
in
because
Muppets Tonight when he calls him like a catfish face
oh
multicolored
sure,
mop top, something
yeah,
like
but
that.
also in Muppets Tonight. Again, it's 30 years. Why do I remember this? Why is this what my brain does?
Why
But
do we all remember
he
any of these
tells
things?
he tells Rizzo, "I'm the man and you're the rat. I have genetic superiority." That happened
Ah,
on
that.
Muppets Tonight.
Oh,
okay.
So
He's Clifford is a man.
I'm just gonna stop
yeah,
questioning things. Have
yeah, it
fun.
doesn't matter. I mean,
No, that's why we're
none of
here.
this matters. None of this
Sure.
matters.
But
None
I
of
mean,
this
it's actually,
matters.
and we're talking about science fiction and fantasy and like having internal logic in your world
Yeah,
is important, even if it
yeah,
Yeah,
does not translate to the real world. And actually, a thing that I think the Muppets do really well when they're doing things really well is create that sense that this is real and makes sense, even though it actually isn't and can't.
right. Yeah, sure.
And
right,
by sort of
right.
calling attention to asking Clifford what he is in this movie about Gonzo being an alien because there's no one else like him,
Right.
it's just not it's not a great move to spotlight that,
Yeah, because there's only one Clifford too. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Huh. Yeah. Have you ever seen the Ask Science Fiction subreddit
No.
on Reddit? It's just people asking in universe question, like mostly kind of logistical questions about fictional universes, and all the answers are supposed to be answered using information that is available with what we see on screen or within the books or whatever the topic happens to be. It's fun. It's like that kind of question, like you might ask, what is Clifford? What species is Clifford? So that's fun.
Neat.
And then here's something in the draft. The Dawson's Creek cameo is written into this draft, but it's different. So
I was going to
all
ask about this. I'm so
four
glad.
all four of the main characters from Dawson's Creek are
Mm,
there. I think, well, okay, I'm just going to read this. In this draft, they each have one line. Dawson says, "This is incredible. It's like the end of Close Encounters. It's like being in the movie." Pacey says, "I am smart, yet I act goofy. Hey, lady." Jen says, "I am a slut. Let's make out with older boys." Joey says, "This is stupid. Let's leave."
Okay.
So,
So that's clearly a placeholder. And actually, this answers the
yes.
question I was going to ask you of like, how do these cameos get handled in the script?
Mhm.
And you've answered it.
Yeah.
Like, right. Like there's also, I believe whoever wrote that has never seen Dawson's Creek. I mean, those things are true. Like the Pacey and Jen lines are like broad strokes, sort of how their characters were established in the
Uh-huh.
pilot. But obviously they would never say that. And also you wouldn't say it in a Muppet movie.
Oh, right,
But
absolutely. Well, I don't think they would ask Michelle Williams to say that
also
line,
that,
and also
no.
you would they would not have it in a Muppet movie.
Right. And of
Yeah.
course the whole thing is like everyone thinks she's a bad girl, but like, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
I love that as like a peek into how this worked, that they just were like, and here are the placeholder lines that we'll fix later
Right.
and possibly ask
Yeah.
them to write and whatever. So uh that's great. And also it would have been so much better to have all four of them and to have it start with Dawson actually saying something like that would have made the scene much, much better.
That's the
yeah,
one that makes the most sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dawson saying it's like the end of Close Encounters. Yeah. But yeah, that it really does seem like they just thought, okay, we're gonna get some combination of actors
Right.
from Dawson's Creek. We don't know which ones. We're just gonna acknowledge it in this draft of the screenplay, and then we're gonna go from there. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then finally, we see Link and Dr. Strangeborg. And Strangeborg says, "Link, look at all the peoples that came to see der Muppets from space."
Jesus.
And Link says, "Yeah, and we were the original Muppets from space. You think they could have at least stuck us in the movie?" Strangeborg looks at the camera and says, "I think they just did." And then they both look at the camera together.
Okay.
So, you don't
I
like
mean,
that?
it would have been nice to see them. It
It
would
would
have
have
been
been nice.
nice to
Yeah.
give them a moment, but that's not great.
It's they're a few ways off. I mean, a few years off from recasting Link, I guess, at this point. When did we hear Link again after Jim Henson's passing?
Not for a while. Um,
Was it Muppets Party Cruise? Was that the first time?
oh, see, I don't think about those games like you do. So
2003?
probably then, yeah.
Yeah, that
I
might
thought it
have been
was
the
the
first time.
the
So it's,
Nirvana thing, the Smells Like Teen Spirit Barbershop Quartet. In the
oh yeah,
movie,
which
like
is
that
even
was what I
later.
would think of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like that's a real production. Yeah, that counts more than a video game, but still, yeah. Yeah, and I do hear people say, like there should have been some kind of pigs in space element in this movie. So it would have been nice just to have a reference or an acknowledgement in this. So yeah, that's all I have from the draft. Adam, we are asking all of our guests this season two questions. The first one being, what is your history with this movie?
So I remember really liking it. I remember see, I must have seen it in the theater. Maybe I waited for video, but I at the time I was like, "Oh, the Muppets are back! It's the '90s and the Muppets are back!" I'm so excited. Like there was, uh, I had a very bad reaction to Christmas Carol when I first saw it,
Oh,
and I've come around on it. But I think there was something about being so close to Jim's death and like nobody sounded right, and
mm,
I just wasn't I didn't like it, and I'm not sure if I even saw Treasure Island at the time. And then this came along, and I was like, oh, okay, they've done a decent job. They've updated, right? It's it's a modern sensibility for modern times, and they did the thing. And I love Josh Charles, and I love Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson, and this is fun. And I have watched it recently, and boy, do I hate this movie. Um,
mm,
but very Merry Muppet Christmas, which I know is divisive, but like from the same period, I still love. I have the
mm.
DVD. I've watched it again. Like, and it's the same thing. Like, I mean, just the credits alone are like the most 2000 thing that ever 2000 did. Like, it's just like that cast, the human cast is like could not have existed at any other time. It is very dated, but like somehow that worked for me.
Hmm.
I think maybe because it actually is funny. And yeah, I do not like this movie at all. But at the time, I remember like sort of being happy that my friends were back and thinking like it felt like a decent update.
Sure.
I can't really account for what changed in between.
No,
I
I
wish
mean
I could
it's
be more Anthony
always
about it, but
it, it's hard not to get excited every time our friends the Muppets come back
well, sure. But
in
then that
anything new.
excitement can often lead to crushing disappointment. So
Sometimes,
yeah,
but there's always that glimmer of optimism.
yeah.
And then our second question is, what is your favorite sci-fi movie or TV show or other thing?
Favorite is hard to pin down. There are many, but the first thought I had when you asked your first guest this question in your season premiere was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. So
Ah,
I'm going to stick with that gut.
Oh, great choice.
It's such a good movie. It's
It's
so
wonderful.
good.
It's wonderful.
It's as a general Star Trek fan, I think it is definitely my favorite individual piece of Star Trek.
Sure.
I just love
Good
it.
choice. A good choice. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
yeah, and
sure.
it
I
kicks off like a proper trilogy. Like two, three, and four were all written by the same people. I don't know if it
Hmm.
was planned that way, but it is a consistent, cohesive story throughout. It's
yeah.
like a
And
great run.
yeah, and I think all good.
Yeah,
Obviously
yeah.
three is like quote unquote
No,
one of the bad ones, but I
I
think
like
it's so
three.
much
I've
fun.
always liked three.
Hmm.
Two
Yeah.
is better, and
I
like,
actually I actually just bought How Much for Just the Planet, a Star Trek novel with William Shatner and Christopher Lloyd on the cover
huh,
Huh.
yesterday. So
neat.
um but yeah, no, Wrath of Khan, it's one of those things where every time I do the first six movies, I'll watch the motion picture
Uh,
and like try to talk myself into liking it, you know?
yeah,
Like I'm always like, oh, actually, this is good. The Enterprise looks great. It's Scotty's having fun.
yeah.
And then I start Wrath of Khan, and every single time I'm just like, no, this is perfect.
It's
This
so
is
Yeah.
this is
it's
what it's supposed to
great.
be.
It's a great action movie. Like it's a great
Hmm.
space action movie. And like Ricardo Montalban just understood the assignment in every way.
Hmm.
And where like the original series was camp mostly unintentionally,
Hmm.
and then to sort of find that balance in the movie where like I think all of the like regular cast members are actually taking everything very seriously, and he is like, oh, I'm gonna turn this up to 17. Like not, I am just gonna be as ridiculous as possible, and it works because he's also like he's crazy and it's scary.
Yeah.
But also like sort of goofy. It's like that the balance is just right, which is not a thing that Star Trek has always succeeded at. I think we largely love it now because it is a little goofy, but that wasn't necessarily their goal. And figuring out how to like make that work, I think was really exceptional.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Have either of you seen Fast X? I'm guessing not.
I have never seen a Fast or a Furious.
Yeah.
I've seen the first one only.
When you were describing
25 years ago.
Yeah, okay. When you were describing like being cranking it up and making a cheesy villain but still making it work, I'm thinking of Jason Momoa in Fast X as an example of how not to do that, because that performance derails that entire movie. And now I'm like, if they make another one, I don't know if I want to see that because he's going to come back. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Hey, I watched the first episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy a few weeks ago, and now I just saw that they canceled the series. Should I watch the rest of it or what?
I think so. They did a second season. It's not my favorite Trek series, but I did enjoy it, and it definitely got better.
Okay.
And again, like tonally, right? I mean, Paul Giamatti as the bad guy, like he is having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I very much
and it's really fun to watch.
The first episode, yeah.
Yeah, they are filming, or they have filmed a second season, so I'm hoping that they're going to at least sort of make it like a complete story.
I hope there's an ending then. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I gotta watch it. Like Joe keeps telling me I gotta watch. There's one specific episode he's like, can't wait for me to get to. So I really got to get to it soon.
Okay. Well, and I'm somebody who has appreciated most of the Star Trek that I've seen, but I have not. I'm nowhere near having seen most or all of it.
Like, of the modern stuff, Strange New Worlds is far and away my favorite.
Okay, I should get to that one.
It's playing in the world of the original series, and it's like such a love letter. And Lower Decks too. It is like they're both such love letters to the fans and to the show, while also being their own thing. And like they're both good shows that also have like this deep respect for the history, and like they know that the fans are at home being like, I got that reference, I got it. And if you don't get it, it's okay. Like it'll blow right by.
Okay, good. Yeah.
It won't be a problem.
That's the right way to do it. Yeah.
All
right, cool. Good answer. So yeah, then with that, we can wrap things up for this week. And as always, we want to thank Morgan Davy for our show's logo and Jordan Brandon for our theme song. Listeners, you can find Tough Pigs on the internet at toughpigs.com. We're all over social media as well as TeePublic. Oh, we haven't mentioned yet. You can buy our Bill Has Ears shirt on our TeePublic store now. I can't believe we have not plugged this yet, but way back in our Muppets Take Manhattan season, we failed to mention that Bill of the Bill, Gil, and Jill advertising frogs trio has ears, and several of our listeners pointed out to us that we forgot to mention that. And one thing led to another. Our friend Drake hand made her own t-shirt design, Bill Has Ears. Anthony's daughter Iris made a t-shirt design, Bill Has Ears. And then our friend and previous podcast guest, Megan Barbeau, made a t-shirt design of Bill Has Ears. And anyway, now you can buy your very own Bill Has Ears shirt on the Tough Pigs TeePublic store.
And right now.
Yeah, go find it. I encourage you to do it. And you can also email us. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it looks great.
Moving right along.
Megan's a pro.
Yes. You can also email us at movingrightalong@toughpigs.com. You can chat with other Muppet nerds on the Tough Pigs Discord server. Anthony is on Blue Sky at Durwood Clapper. I am on Blue Sky at Me Ryan Rowe. Anthony is on Letterboxd at Zeppo Marxist. I'm on Blue Sky at Movies Are Neat. Adam, thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You
spent an hour talking about this.
Well, yeah, but you were definitely the best guest to have on for this Dawson's Creek cameo. So
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that my knowledge was useful to somebody.
Yes. And where can people find you on the internet?
I am on Blue Sky and Instagram and Letterboxd, all the same username, Adam807, which has been my username since AOL, but not since Usenet. I know that much.
Okay.
And you can find Muppeturgy at Muppeturgy.com or on social media at Muppeturgy or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, listeners, find all of those things. And also tell everyone you know to listen to this show. And join us again next week for another episode of Moving Right Along. It was called Dawson's Freaks. I don't know.
Brahms the boy too. Brahms the boy too. Katie Holmes doesn't know what to do 'cause she got attacked and her son won't talk. Out into the woods they go for a walk where they find a doll named Brahms the boy too. Clean him up like Woody, that's what she's gonna do. That's as far as I got.